What are your thoughts on commercials?
Um, I really hate watching them, but I think that they're a decent enough way to get information out about a certain product. They're usually too expensive, in my opinion, to bother wasting time on.
Mm,
And nowadays, you have a lot of internet advertisements that are a lot more noticeable.
yeah. Do you pay attention to commercials?
Very rarely, sometimes there's one that I'll actually be interested in the product for. Most of the time, though, it's just something to not pay attention to, leave it in the background while I do something else, and wait for the actual content to come on.
Yep. Yep. How do you combat watching them? Do you use like Netflix or do you mute it? Or...
Usually, I just ignore them. On YouTube, for instance, they have the skip advertisement. I'll just click that as soon as possible.
Yep.
Sometimes I just turn down the volume all the way if I can just preoccupied with something else already. If it's say on the TV, then I'll just go maybe cook something, grab something I forgot in my room, uh, zone out for 5 minutes until the TV comes back on.
Yeah. um, let's see. Do you think streaming services such as Netflix or Amazon Prime will put cable companies out of business, or is there a way for cable companies to compete?
I mean, really, yeah. Because if they decide to stay on the TV, if they do decide to migrate to an internet platform, that'd probably be best. Or if they partner up with something like Netflix and
Yeah.
they put a lot of their shows online, because really it's just a lot more accessible.
Yep.
And plus, you can watch it on like your mobile device a lot more easily. I mean, I think some television companies have actually gone ahead and put some of their stuff online,
Mm-hmm.
but not all of it's on there. And plus, you can actually watch it whenever you want to, as opposed to having to wait for a certain scheduled time.
Yep. Would you pay extra if cable companies offered an option where commercials didn't exist?
I'm very cheap, so no, but I know a lot of people definitely would.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting if they had something where you could say get a special reward and not have to pay for no commercials, or if you had like a free trial of not having commercials, see how much you care about it.
Okay.
Um, and in some cases, they could have the option to just like have a banner on the side like they do online,
Yep.
and just have you constantly see the advertisement or something. But does it really matter in the end?
So you think do you think others would pay for this?
Yes, I do for sure because people already do pay for it.
Yeah.
Um, it really depends on how much they're charging. If it's just like the whole 99 cent thing that you see in mobile app purchases, then I think a lot of people would. Although if they expect you to do a whole like $50 a month subscription, then
Yeah.
a lot less people pay for it. Just not even because they don't want to, because they're cheap like me, but just because they don't have the money for it.
Okay. Yep. Um, let's see. Would charging extra to eliminate commercials allow cable companies a better chance at competing with streaming services?
If they don't want to migrate to an internet platform, then it would help out. I still think that the idea of accessibility and basically just being able to watch whenever you want to, as
Mhm.
opposed to having to wait for the schedule on TV, is a lot more attractive.
Yeah.
Um, and while it certainly would help, of course, because people are still pretty comfortable watching things on TV. A lot of people that are around now definitely grew up with a TV.
Yeah.
So they'd still be more likely to watch something on TV. But nowadays you can also like hook up your internet to the TV.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could be pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the future is in the TV viewing industry?
I think that views will definitely drop. Again, really the best thing to do would probably just be migrate to an internet platform. Um, Definitely TVs will still be used, not necessarily for like cable or satellite TV, but just to like watch movies, like a monitor for a computer,
Yeah.
like my roommate does. And
Yeah.
yeah, but a lot of people still do like the TV, but it'll probably just be used for something else.
Okay. Do you think Netflix will take this over, or Amazon Prime, or will it be a separate
I,
business?
I don't think it'll necessarily just be one of those two because they still have a limited amount of, what do I say, shows that they have available.
Yeah.
Like they aren't going to be able to stream everything.
Yeah.
I think it'll be an even mix of a lot of different companies,
Okay.
especially because of the whole monopoly thing in the U.S. at least,
Yep.
where a lot of the companies are technically based out of.
Yep.
So a lot of places will probably be together on it in a sense. Like you'll have some companies that offer a different variety of shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Do you think paying to remove commercials is a good option, or will companies look to crush this alternative because it'll ruin their advertising?
I would say the option to pay is good for the consumer. On the other hand, for certain advertisers or the people who are paying to have their advertisements up there, they'll probably be a little bit upset because their main idea is to get their product out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people don't really care too much about commercials in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't even know how effective advertisements are, other than like, I think I've seen this product before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll consider this one more just because they're familiar with it.
Yeah.
And having seen it at least once. Although, it really depends on like what kind of how frequent it is, I guess. Like if literally everybody's paying to get rid of the advertisement, then of course the sponsors will be kind of upset because they're paying their money for pretty much nothing.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, the cheaper it is, the more the consumer is likely to go ahead and take you up on the offer.
Okay. Eliminating commercials would also mean that during sporting events, the viewers will be watching the athletes and hearing the announcers speak, but there won't be any action from the game. Would this be worth paying for?
It depends. Some people really like the sports commentary.
Yeah.
Like for instance during the Super Bowl, I guess a lot of people would be interested in knowing what the technical details are, but a lot of people just only care about action. And especially during the Super Bowl itself, a lot of people actually really look forward to the commercials.
Yeah.
Which is not really the most common thing otherwise. But I still think it's a good idea to have, during some sporting events, some commercials, especially the ones that are more, how do I say it, innovative.
Mm-hmm.
Because then people will just enjoy it more. It's part of the whole culture in the end.
Okay. Are commercials effective?
Not very often, honestly.
No.
A lot of times they're just kind of stupid or annoying. Although sometimes you'll have a good commercial every once in a while, even if you don't like the product, it's at least something to keep in your mind that, hey, these guys did a good job.
Yeah.
So I think that is something important to realize, that at the very least it could be seen as entertainment every once in a while. A lot of times it depends on the culture as well. Like different countries have different preferences in ads. Like you have the Japanese,
Yeah.
you have one version, and then the Americans see that as very, very weird. And then say like the Europeans, they'll consider the American advertisements to be very bland and boring a lot of the time. So, yeah.
How much would you be willing to pay for a service where commercials are eliminated?
Depends on the frequency of the commercials, I guess. If it's a one-time thing, I probably wouldn't pay for it, just because it would end up being very expensive. Like, they aren't going to charge you 99 cents to eliminate all commercials forever, like they would on a mobile app, for instance, with the in-app purchases. Although if it's a subscription, I'd probably not want to pay too much, like maybe max $20 a month.
Okay.
But even then, I probably just wouldn't pay for it just because I'm cheap, personally, but I think a lot of people would probably pay around that price range.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe a little bit less.
Let's see. Explain the types of shows you would like commercials to be eliminated on, such as like sports or reality TV shows.
Mostly just more, I guess, fictional TV shows. I'm not really a fan of sports personally, and I don't really watch a lot of non-fiction or educational shows these days.
Yeah.
A lot of that I can still get online if I really want the specific topic.
Yeah. What shows do you usually watch on TV?
I don't really watch TV these days, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some show.
What do you usually use?
I usually just go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or another service.
Do you watch Netflix or no?
I don't really watch Netflix often because I don't have an account, although I will basically leech off of friends for Netflix sometimes.
Okay.
Which is pretty nice.
Do you think Netflix will last in the future, or will it just be a fad?
Netflix will probably last in the future, to be honest, unless piracy gets really out of hand.
Yeah.
Just because that's free, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you
For
think
torrenting
YouTube
otherwise.
will have a big position in the TV viewing industry?
I don't necessarily think it will in the TV viewing industry. A lot of the original content on YouTube will probably still get its popularity as long as it keeps its consumers interested, and music will obviously be a big thing on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And small parodies and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think most TV shows should go to YouTube. They already kind of are, but you still have to pay for the content,
Okay.
and a lot of people are far too cheap for that.
Yeah.
from what I can tell, including myself.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
No problem.